Hi, this is Saad from RentViewer, and I'd like to give you a preview of our onboarding process and share what it'll be like once you sign up with us for our RentViewer Enterprise program. So, once you sign up, our journey together begins. You've got a business to run, you've got a strategy to execute, and we'll provide a data infrastructure, we'll provide you some dashboards, enable you to do a lot of customizations, provide you guidance on best practices for real estate analytics, and provide the tech support to make sure that your data infrastructure and your data stays fresh and is usable. So RentViewer is going to have a big impact in the way you do a lot of things in your company. When it comes to managing your operations and keeping an eye on your collections, your occupancy, work orders, and so on, RentViewer will make it very easy to analyze your data and do things much more differently and faster. Your budgeting, forecasting, analyzing budget variances will become easier and much more visual and interactive. You'll be able to do a lot more things when it comes to portfolio oversight and just being able to have a good picture across your entire portfolio because you're not going to be dealing with spreadsheets and joining spreadsheets together. You'll be able to look at your portfolio by asset type, by region, acquisition dates, and so on, and be able to compare properties with each other. Underwriting, assumptions, and acquisitions are very spreadsheet intensive activity in most companies, and RentViewer will help you simplify that. RentViewer makes month-end close much more automated, and we also automatically catch a lot of errors that might not have been caught before the books are closed each month. And then when it comes to your debt, refinancing, and evaluating options for your exit strategy, because of the way we manage data, you'll be able to analyze a lot more scenarios and do what if analysis a lot more easily than you probably can today with spreadsheets. So before I go too deep, you're not alone. You're not just buying an infrastructure. There's a whole team standing behind you that's always available to you. Dan from our team is responsible for customer success, and he'll be your point of contact. Raghu is our technical leader, and he makes sure that your cloud database and the entire analytics platform is secure and reliable and up to standards. And Guru and Srinivas will work on your dashboards and implement any of the customization requests that you give us. So the topics I'm going to cover here include what our onboarding is like, how long it takes, give you a preview of some of the pre-built dashboards that you'll get right away, our data warehouse, and how you'll be accessing the data and how things will change as you switch from a Excel environment to RentViewer. And then how we implement customizations, and then the weekly rhythm and the weekly checkpoints as we make progress towards building out your data analytics capability. So onboarding, by onboarding is by the time you're done with the onboarding, a lot of things will be done. We'll have some dashboards built. The quality of your data will have been confirmed. A data warehouse will have been set up. We will have oriented your team on how to utilize RentViewer, and the customizations that you want will have been identified and planned. So overall, onboarding will take about 2 to 3 weeks, all these activities. Setting up the data warehouse takes the longest, but we also roll out the pre-built dashboards. And once those dashboards are there, we'll do a quality review with your team and orient your team on RentViewer and the capabilities, and then we'll be live. And then we can start implementing any customizations if you want any. So early on, we'll be installing some pre-built dashboards, and I'd like to give you an overview of what those are. So there are 7 dashboards that are included, and this is the financial overview dashboard, your work orders dashboard. Now, keep in mind, on the right-hand side, there's a panel that shows you month, the property name. So these are different dimensions across which you can filter your data. And so these dashboards are interactive, and you'll be able to see them on a web page. So the P&L dashboard, being able to look at your budget variances visually and be able to drill down by account or property. Utility recapture. The property operations dashboard actually has quite a lot of features in it, from your prospects, showings, applications, to your accounts receivable aging, vacancies, service tickets, move in, move out activity. So it provides a pretty holistic view of your operations. And then lastly, this dashboard is the income and expense per unit dashboard, where we show you your different properties and specific expense accounts on a per unit basis, so you can compare properties against each other. Now, not all of these dashboards might be useful to you, but they serve a very important purpose in the onboarding phase. And that is to help us validate the data quality. And when I say data quality, I'm talking about three things specifically. First of all, the accuracy of the data. The data in the dashboards or the data that you pull out of RentViewer must match what is in your property management system and other systems. So we'll have to deliberately make sure that that's the case. Completeness is another important factor, and completeness refers to making sure that the data is there for all the start date, end dates, and there are no gaps in the data. Now, some gaps are valid because you may have had dispositions or you may have had new acquisitions, so there might be no data for certain time periods, or you might have changed your chart of accounts at some point, and a GL account that existed before doesn't exist anymore. But we need to uncover these and confirm that any gaps that we see in the data are as expected. And then the third item that's really important, and in any analytics program, pick lists become very important. And what I'm referring to by pick lists are things like your unit type, your unit status codes, your GL accounts, your GL account hierarchy, work order statuses, and if you've identified any custom fields for your units or properties or residents and so on, these items should be accurate so that you can actually drill into your data across different dimensions. And so this is what gets covered during the data quality review during onboarding. So let's talk about the data warehouse. You've seen this picture before. So when we're setting up the data warehouse, we're setting up these connectors. We're installing a database on the cloud, and we're pulling in your data, your historical data, and aggregating it. And the data will be consumed typically in one of three different ways: alerts, dashboards, and spreadsheets. And so this is the setup in the background. We also set up your accounts and access control and so on for these. So how you access your data will really depend on how you're going to be consuming it. So alerts are simply one way to just find out if there's a problem. We'll run a program in the background and say, you know what, these are the 10 units that haven't paid this month's rent yet. That's an example of an alert. Dashboards help you view your data in trends and visually see outliers and be able to compare properties or accounts with each other. And then spreadsheets are what you probably do today when you're analyzing the performance of your assets or looking into a root cause of an issue. So all of these capabilities will be available to you. Now notice I use the word data model in our diagrams. So what data model refers to is when you pull data into Excel, you'll go to the Excel data tab and then go to Get My Data, go to Azure, and then we'll set up the credentials for you to be able to pull this data in. So the thing to note here is that what we're giving you is not just your old export. So you can manually go to say export your AR aging report from your system, put it into Excel, and start working with it. What normally happens is that you're probably not just pulling in your AR aging report, you're pulling in some other exports as well. And then you're creating VLOOKUPs between these sheets so that you can get the columns that you want. So a data model in our world, in RentViewer's world, is really all the columns that you need to analyze a specific topic. So typically, maybe for AR aging, you might also ask for columns for charge types, or show me all the residents that actually have received a notice to vacate. Property names, property groups, those might be additional columns that you attach in your AR aging export, and we'll automatically do that for you. So that when you're pulling your data into your dashboards or into your Excel files, the you don't have to do extra work because we'll do that for you, and the columns will be there. Customizations are a built-in feature of our RentViewer program, and one of the most important tools that we use for planning customizations is the project roadmap. And a project roadmap is essentially a wish list of the capabilities that you would like to build on top of RentViewer. And so here's an example of some of the things that you might want. And this is a real example from one of our other customers. But these are different projects, analytics or data-related projects that will be worked on, which is a department or team that wants it. What's the business value to your business? And then when it comes to complexity, we'll help you actually identify that based on how complicated it might be to get the data out. So during onboarding, we'll build out your project roadmap as well and set expectations about the timing for delivering these capabilities. Another important feature of the RentViewer program is the weekly checkpoint. And so you'll be meeting regularly with us. And the agenda of these weekly checkpoints is, number one, we'll give you an update on the status of any customizations that we're doing for you. We'll ask you for feedback on any customizations that we previously delivered and see if you're using it, you're getting value out of it, if there is anything you want to change on it. And then we also hold what we call the technology office hours. So if your team is working on some complex problem, like you're building a dashboard and you're stuck, or you've got a complicated Excel project where you're still having to do VLOOKUPs and do some additional work, that's the time to talk about that with us. And we'll brainstorm together and figure out how to simplify things for you by utilizing the capabilities of RentViewer. And then we'll also just review what are the priorities for the next week so that we're all on the same page. We'll give you regular status reports, and this is an example of a real status report where we'll identify all the things that we're working on, what the status is, what's been completed, what hasn't been started yet, and when did you request it, when did we say we would get it done by, and then the latest status. So this is a regular feature of the RentViewer program as well. And we're available in many different ways. You call us, send us an email, or just bring your questions to the weekly checkpoint, or submit a question through our website chat. So we're available not just through onboarding, but on an ongoing basis. And we have many customers that have been with us 3 years, 4 years, and we have regular communication with them and are constantly building out their data analytics capability. So I hope this gave you a good idea of what to expect after you sign up with us. Thank you, and please get in touch if you have any more questions.